Hi, you're watching Reddit Confessions. He left the motel key on my desk. No name, no note, just the key, a receipt folded around it, and the room number, 217. At first, I thought it was a mistake, maybe a joke from one of the guys at work. But the handwriting on the receipt was familiar. Hers. Lavender ink. The kind she always used when writing in her journals. And one word scribbled at the bottom in her half-cursive, sorry. I didn't even grab my jacket. I just left the office. My legs moved faster than my brain could reason. I wasn't ready for the truth, but I also couldn't pretend I didn't see it. I drove 32 minutes in silence, radio off, hands trembling at every red light. The motel was a grim place tucked behind a liquor store and a pawn shop. I don't know what I expected, but it wasn't this. Not somewhere this low. Room 217 was at the end of the second floor, the door slightly ajar. I didn't knock. I didn't hesitate. I pushed it open, and time stopped. There she was, on the bed, the sheet barely covering her. Her hair messy in a way I hadn't seen in years. And him, shirtless, smug, legs stretched out like he owned the place. The man I once shook hands with at a charity dinner. He looked at me, completely unfazed, and smirked. She's mine now. I swear, the walls shook with the blood rushing to my head. But I didn't yell. I didn't break. I didn't ask why, or how could you. I just smiled, pulled out my phone, pressed play on the video. And then I said calmly, "Your wife saw the video." His smirk faded. She froze. And I turned around and walked out, leaving the door wide open behind me. The moment I left that room, everything felt heavy. The air, my clothes, even my skin. I got into my car and just sat there. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't even start the engine. I just stared at the wheel, hands trembling, chest tight. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. One line. "What the hell did you just do to my marriage?" It was her. Not my wife. His. Lorna. I'd only met her once, at a conference dinner where our spouses had to come along. She was the kind of woman who made everyone straighten their posture. Precise. Calculated. The opposite of the messy, chaotic scene I'd just walked away from. I texted back. "You deserve to know." No reply. I was halfway through texting my therapist. "Yes, I've had one for years. Anxiety's a charming lifelong companion," when I realized I couldn't go home. The house would smell like her. Her chamomile lotion. Her favorite cinnamon candles. It would mock me. So I drove. Not to a friend's. Not to a bar. I didn't even know where I was going. I ended up in the parking lot of a 24-hour laundromat. Just sat there again, watching strangers spin their lives clean while mine was unraveling in silence. Eventually, my phone buzzed again. This time, from her. My wife. "Fern, we need to talk. Please." I didn't want it to be like this. Like what? Like being caught? Like the moment her lover said, "She's mine," while she lay tangled in motel sheets? I didn't respond. I opened the video again. I'd forgotten I'd left the camera running before I walked into the room. The audio was shaky, muffled at first, but then it got clearer. After I walked out, they talked. I hadn't heard it before. Fern whispered, "He recorded it. I think he sent it to someone." Briggs replied, "So what? He's spineless. He won't do anything. He never does." Spineless. That word echoed. Not sad. Not betrayed. Not hurt. Just spineless. I sat there gripping my phone so tightly I thought I might crush it. Every part of me wanted to disappear. But another part, one that had been buried under years of soft words and fake forgiveness, started to wake up. It didn't want revenge. It wanted truth. And truth wasn't done yet. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't go home either. I sat in my car, engine off, phone buzzing every hour, like clockwork. "Can we talk? I'm sorry. It wasn't serious. Please answer." Every message chipped at me in a different way, but I didn't open a single one. Just let them pile up like unpaid bills. Around 6 a.m., the sun barely a whisper on the horizon, I drove back to the house. I wasn't sure why. Maybe I just wanted to grab a bag and vanish. Maybe I wanted to see if she'd actually come back. Either way, the moment I stepped into the kitchen, I knew she had. Her favorite tea mug was on the counter. She only used that weird ceramic one with the crooked handle when she was stressed. And on the table, beneath a sheet of paper towel, was a small wooden box. No note. No explanation. Just the box. I should have left it alone. Should have walked upstairs, grabbed a change of clothes, and driven straight into the horizon. But curiosity? It's a parasite. It chews at you until you feed it. Inside the box were 5 things. A necklace I bought her from a street vendor in Charleston 5 years ago. A movie stub from our first date. A receipt from the day we signed our mortgage. Her wedding ring. And finally, a USB drive. I stared at it like it was ticking. I didn't even have to guess what was on it. Still, I plugged it into my laptop. One video file. No title. No timestamp. Just a blurred thumbnail. When I hit play, I expected another recording of them. Another punch to the ribs. But it wasn't that. It was her alone. Crying. Shaking. Talking into the camera like it was her priest. She said she didn't know why she did it. That she felt invisible. That I was too gentle. Too stable. Too easy to hurt. But what shattered me most wasn't her tears. It was when she smiled mid-sob and said, "He won't leave. He never does. He's addicted to staying." And that's when I realized something. She wasn't confessing. She was testing me. This wasn't a goodbye. It was a dare. The dare haunted me. I couldn't stop replaying that smirk she gave the camera, the bitter curve of her lips when she called me too easy to hurt. Like she knew I'd see it. Like she wanted me to. I wondered how many drafts she recorded before settling on that version. Was that the most polished pain she could present? I stayed in the house for exactly 18 minutes before I packed a bag. Socks, charger, old hoodie, one pair of jeans. I left the wedding photo on the dresser untouched. I didn't need reminders. I already had a house full of them. But as I zipped the bag, I noticed something odd. Her journal. She never left it out. That thing was sacred to her. I wasn't even allowed to look at the cover without her making some joke about emotional trespassing. But there it was, half tucked under her pillow like a booby trap. I should have ignored it. I almost did. But I opened it. Not out of spite. Out of survival. It wasn't what I expected. No rambling affirmations or chakra energy reflections. It was a list. Names. Dates. Some crossed out. Some underlined. Some marked with a star. Briggs was in there, twice. 2 separate dates. But so was someone else. Tomas. With a heart drawn beside his name. I don't know who Tomas is. I've never met a Tomas. But the last date next to his name? It was this Friday. I felt nauseous. She was still seeing people. Still scheduling infidelity like brunch. And the worst part? She wasn't even hiding it anymore. This wasn't about love. Or mistakes. Or some emotional gap between us. This was a game to her. A map of destruction. And I was just one stop along the way. I left the journal open on the bed and walked out of the house without locking the door. I didn't want to come back. I didn't want to be the kind of man who needed to prove he deserved better. I wanted to be the man who stopped asking for permission to leave. I thought I could disappear quietly. I booked a cheap rental cabin 2 hours north, a place with spotty reception, a creaky bed, and curtains that smelled like mildew. I told no one where I was going. Not even my brother. I needed silence. Space. Something without her scent baked into the walls. I was 2 days off the grid when my phone finally buzzed. A single bar of signal and one missed call from a number I didn't recognize. Then, a voicemail. I almost deleted it. But something about the area code felt weirdly familiar. I played it and heard his voice. Briggs. Hey, Calvin. Look, I don't know what to say. Lorna left me. Took the kids. The house. Everything. She won't even answer my calls. You could have just sent her the photo, man. But the video? The audio? You wanted to destroy us. I gripped the phone tighter. He kept talking. She said she knew everything even before your little stunt. That she'd been planning to leave me anyway. So congrats, I guess. You just sped up the timeline. Fern's been crying for 2 days straight. You broke her. I stood there in that dusty cabin kitchen, heart pounding, brain boiling with rage. I broke her? He ended the message with something that made my skin crawl. She said you found the journal. Careful, man. Not everything in there was meant for you. I didn't sleep that night. Not because of fear, but because something shifted inside me. A realization. There were still things I didn't know. Still lies hiding between lines of that journal. And the more I tried to escape it, the more it followed me. The next morning, I packed up the cabin, got in my car, and turned on my phone. Dozens of unread messages. But one stood out. A DM request on an old social app one hadn't opened in years. From someone named Tomas A. His profile picture? A selfie, taken in my backyard. With my dog. I stared at the message for what felt like hours. Not because I was scared. Because I was confused. Angry. Intrigued. All at once. The photo wasn't old. I could tell by the patio furniture. It was the set Fern bought just last month. Tomas had been in my yard recently, maybe even while I was still living there. His message was just one sentence. She's not who you think she is. No greeting. No context. No emojis. Just that chilling, loaded line. I didn't reply right away. I clicked on his profile first. It was mostly locked, no posts, no friends visible. But one tagged photo was public. It was a group shot, taken outside some artsy little cafe. And right in the middle, laughing like she had no care in the world, was Fern, sitting beside Tomas, her hand on his knee. It was dated 11 months ago. I felt sick. So this hadn't just been recent. She'd known Tomas for at least a year. That means while she was crying in my arms over her mom's cancer, she was texting him behind my back. While we were talking about refinancing the mortgage, she was out drinking overpriced lattes with him in broad daylight. I finally responded. What do you mean by that? He replied instantly, like he was waiting. Call me when you're alone. I'll tell you everything. Then a number. No area code. Local. I hesitated. I didn't want more secrets, more damage. But I also couldn't pretend anymore. If there were answers, I needed them, even if they destroyed what little was left of my peace. I called. One ring. Two. Then a click. His voice was calm. Too calm. Calvin, you don't know me, but I know you. And I know what she did to your brother. I froze. What? You really think you were her first? A long pause. Then he continued. She was seeing me before she met you. And before that, Luke, your brother, he never told you? My hands went cold. The world spun sideways. I didn't hang up. I just listened, because I was finally starting to understand. This wasn't just betrayal. It was who she was. I couldn't speak. Not because I didn't have questions, but because my mind had completely detached from the moment. Tomas's words kept replaying in my ears like a broken tape. She was with your brother first. It didn't make sense. Luke and Fern had barely interacted. Or so I thought. Luke and I weren't close. Not since the year Dad passed, and Luke spiraled into silence. But if he had been with Fern before me, why hadn't he said anything? Why let me marry her? Why come to the wedding at all? She dated him before you, Tomas said calmly, as if he were reciting a weather report. It wasn't serious. For her. But for him? Yeah, he was all in. He told her he loved her. And she laughed in his face. I felt something crack inside me. She told me the same thing she told you. Tomas went on. You're different. You see me. She plays that line like a violin. I believed it. We all did. But she doesn't want to be seen. She wants to be worshipped. I could hear his voice change. Quieter now. Regretful. You want to know why I messaged you? He said. Because I was her Tomas for 2 years. And then, overnight, I became her insurance policy. She started slipping, getting bolder, telling me she hoped you never left, that she liked the comfort of you, while she chased the thrill of everyone else. I couldn't breathe. Luke never told you because he thought it was his fault, like he wasn't good enough. But the truth is, she never wanted good. She wanted control. I ended the call. I couldn't listen to one more word. I needed air. Movement. Something. I drove to Luke's place without texting first. I hadn't seen him in months, but when he opened the door, the moment he saw my face, he knew. Did she tell you? He asked, voice like gravel. I shook my head. Tomas did. Luke didn't ask who that was. He just nodded and stepped aside to let me in. And for the first time since this whole nightmare started, I realized I wasn't the only one she broke. Luke and I talked for hours. Most of it was quiet. There were long stretches of silence where neither of us needed to say anything, because the truth had already spoken louder than we ever could. He told me how Fern had ghosted him one day, no explanation, just vanished, then reappeared on my arm at a family barbecue 6 months later. He didn't say a word back then, not because he didn't care, but because he thought maybe, just maybe, she'd changed. That maybe I was her soft landing after burning everyone else. But she didn't land. She just floated from one life to the next, like none of us were real people. When I left his place, I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I didn't feel broken anymore. I felt clear. That night, I returned to the house one final time. Not to fight. Not to forgive. Just to collect what was mine. Fern was there, sitting at the kitchen table with red eyes, and that same fake vulnerability she wore when she needed sympathy. I was messed up, she whispered. I thought you wouldn't stay if I didn't. Stop, I said. This isn't about what you thought. It's about what I know now. She didn't argue. I handed her a plain envelope. Inside it was a signed separation agreement, a flash drive with all the evidence, and a typed letter with one line bolded. I am no longer your mirror. I left my key on the counter, walked out, didn't look back. Now it's been 6 months. I moved to a different city. I adopted a rescue dog named Parker who follows me everywhere. I write technical manuals by day and poems by night. I even went on a date last week. I was terrified, but I showed up. And that's more than I ever did when I was with her. Because I'm not spineless. I just needed to stop loving someone who thrived on bending my spine until I forgot how to stand. Thanks for watching Reddit Confessions. If you were in my shoes, which moment from this story hit you hardest? The motel, the journal, Tomas's message, or Luke's confession? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And remember, healing doesn't always look heroic. Sometimes, it looks like finally walking away and not locking the door behind you.